A small edition of the most delicious segment in all of sports, Title Pie. We, of course, get a pie. We usually spend a lot of time on it, but we've already allotted our food time in this segment. You know what it is. All right, time now for Title Pie.
All right, there's 3 teams left.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll get right to
debated
it.
even doing it.
This one is...
No, well, we're going to turn it into a good kind of conference and
one.
NBA Finals discussion. But in the meantime, one of our last pies of the year, the smallest slice, but maybe a bigger slice than people thought they would have at this point yesterday.
8%.
The New York Knicks.
Fair.
8%. That's about a 1 in 12 shot to go on and win the whole damn thing. Again, this isn't win your round pie, because I'd give the Knicks much greater, as you'll see, but 8% to win the whole thing. Oddly, the exact same size of slice the Pacers had 2 weeks ago when we did this. The Pacers, steady at 12%.
This is
Which
crazy.
It's just an ode to the Thunder.
Well, which means the Oklahoma City Thunder are at 80%.
80%?
Now, you might say that's crazy, and Wildes very often says, like, he'll bring up a Vegas thing, and I'll disagree, and he'll be like, but when you say Vegas says, and it's
one of the
fair.
flaws of the show.
I understand that. So I'm bringing this up just informationally. Vegas's, DraftKings's title pie, by virtue of what their odds are, have the Thunder sitting at 88%.
Wow.
They're minus 750 to win the whole thing.
Too much.
And so
80%, 88%.
I think I would say the Thunder are fair 4-1 favorites over whoever comes out of this series, which is why they are sitting at 80%.
When's the last time, just from your gambling research, a finals has been this lopsided?
I think
going
18 Cavs Warriors. When it was the Warriors with the Steph KD and the Cavs minus Kyrie. I think that would have been
meme. It's like LeBron.
Yes, that one. Hubs just told me was minus 2,000.
Yikes.
This is minus, and the minus 750 right now. Now that'll adjust a little bit depending on who wins. You know what I mean? I think it'll be a little bit smaller if the Pacers win, a little bit bigger if the Knicks win. But regardless,
Can I tweak it a tad?
Sure. We're gonna talk. Yeah.
77% OKC.
Why?
I just think 80's a tad too high. I'm gonna give 18% to the Pacers and 5% to the.
Wow, you're going smaller on the Knicks. Okay, got it. All right, good.
80 is
just a major
little.
change.
Nah, just a little.
77.
Okay. What I would say is this, and this is what is so interesting to me. The Knicks have been playing pressurized playoff games the entire playoffs. The Pacers have played 0. So the Knicks, in my opinion, Game 6 against Detroit, there's real pressure there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To not let that team get them to 7. I would argue every single game of the Celtics series.
Really?
Yeah, because certainly until
Not
Tatum got
3-1,
hurt.
yeah.
Once Tatum got hurt, the first 4 games. Like Game 1, obviously, there, and then
That was kind of house money. Nobody expected them to win.
okay.
And certainly Game 2. So it was like we won 1, we split, took home court. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
And
Maybe I'm using the wrong exact terminology, but they were huge underdogs and had to come back in each spot. There's certainly pressure within the games, and then in this series they faced an absolute must-win in Game 3, and then they had a pressurized Game 4 they lost, and then an elimination game there. The Pacers series have gone up 2-0, up 3-1. All 3 rounds. So they've never been down in a series. They've never faced a must-win game. And this brew isn't a must-win, but it is real pressure. It's their last home game of the series. So no, it's not all on Indiana, but I'm curious how they respond to any pressure in this spot.
No, I agree with, and I'm glad you said, because a lot of people have said, oh, all the pressure's on Indiana now. No, it's not.
No.
Now, there is some degree of pressure, because even though they will feel confident, justifiably so, in a Game 7 in New York, they won Game 7 last year in New York. They've won 2 of the 3 playoff games against the Knicks in New York this year. So they're not intimidated by Madison Square Garden. Still, you want to get rid of the Knicks.
Yeah.
You want to get rid of the Knicks, all right? And you don't want to go back for a game 7 in the Garden. These teams are very closely matched. They've shown they can beat you. Like, you just get rid of them. And having 1-2 straight, gotten it to 7 games after being down 3-1, the Knicks will have all the momentum as well as the home court advantage. But I think both of these teams, neither one of them feels pressure. The Knicks have shown that. We're down 20.
Yeah.
We come back and we're down 3-1. We blow them out at home last night. And the Indiana just in the midst of games. You are right in that they haven't faced like a pressure game, but just looking at what they do in clutch situations.
They face a ton of pressure during the game.
So they seem like they won't. Neither of these teams is going to fold underneath the pressure. So I think it's more on the Knicks just because their backs are against the wall. But yeah, Indy's got to get it done.
All right, Thunder.
Can I ask you a question before we move on? Please?
Yeah, go.
We have time. Because it seems like something you'll like. There's only one guy in this series who risks being memed. And that's Halliburton. Because
You don't think Cat?
No, because I think Cat's played really well.
He has, but people,
but I'm talking about for something. Here's the point that I'm making, and I'm curious if you think this will resonate on him at all. Halliburton did this during game 1. He mocked Brunson's three-point celebration during game 4. If you then go on to blow a 3-1 lead, it's not the same, but something that I'll remember.
Oh, this will be.
What I was going to say is that it's not something I always remember is when the Warriors were up 3-1 on the Cavs. Clay was doing a press conference and talked about the NBA being a grown man league and LeBron crying about stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That press conference and it was right and all of that. And so I just think that as far as individual, be a rough summer. The person under the most pressure to not lose this series has become Halliburton.
I think that's fair.
Since I dabble in being a body language.
Yes, that's why I wanted your take on this.
Halliburton's post-game press conference came out there. I got to be better. What are you going to do? Super confident.
Yeah.
Siakam got into kind of an awkward back and forth with Greg Doyle. Still, he's like, they played better. They played harder than us. It happens. They don't seem stressed about it at all.
Not yet.
And I think they knew, first quarter, it wasn't even, that big of a lead, but it felt like, all right, Brunson's going off. All right, maybe we're going to lose this one. The Garden's going crazy. All right. Maybe, but I just feel like they seem very confident. But not overconfident.
Because they didn't. Siakam was right on the money. Now, it's not like you go out there saying, we're going to lay an egg tonight. Who cares? Are we going back to Indiana? But they didn't. It just might be subconscious. It's human nature.
It is.
They are very confident that they are winning Game 6.
Yes.
The point I'm making is if they lose Game 6, does all all of that flip?
If they lose games,
well, the pressure certainly is way on.
Would the
Knicks be favored?
Yeah,
yes.
definitively.
Yes.
The home team's been favored every game.
The pressure would flip completely.
Yeah, and it's real oh, wait, this will follow us a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not only that we blew it, but like you said, this would come to define them until they get over the hump.
Correct. Exactly.
Thunder over Pacers, Thunder over Knicks, Pacers over Thunder, Knicks over Thunder at plus 2,200. Who in the East would be the tougher matchup? Vegas says the Pacers, obviously.
This is tough just because the Thunder are overwhelming favorites over either one. Now, what we have seen is that in these playoffs, styles make fights, right?
Yes.
Minnesota owns Denver, right? 6 straight wins over them, including last year's sweep in the playoffs. Or not sweep, but winning those last 2 games. And then Denver gave OKC all it wanted.
Right.
And then OKC smashes Minnesota.
In a weird way, if Aaron Gordon doesn't pull his hamstring, Anthony Edwards is the face of the league. That could be the case. So when I look at these 2 Eastern teams, though, they both got swept, in 2 games against OKC this year.
neither is a great defensive team.
No.
And obviously the Thunder are a phenomenal defensive team. And what you saw last night when the Knicks picked Halliburton up 3/4 court, half court, full court occasionally, that's what I would imagine that's what the Thunder will do. And they got waves of guys. The Knicks don't have waves of guys you can just throw at Halliburton like that. The Thunder do. There's a part of me that maybe it's just because of the experience. You know, the Knicks are the most experienced team left, that I feel like, you know what? I feel like not that they beat them, but they give them more of a fight. But I can think, you know, okay, I will say this about the Pacers. Their guards are better defensively. So if Neesmith is healthy and Nembhard, like they got guys they can throw at Shea and try to bother him too. So I'm going to say Indiana slightly, but
I think you're looking at this from not the wrong way, but opposite of how I looked at it. I think it is clearly that Indiana is the tougher matchup. I think Oklahoma City is clearly better than both of them, because the only shot you have against the Thunder is if you don't turn the ball over. And Indiana's because Halliburton doesn't turn it over, you have a chance. And Indiana is simply going to say, we know you have a great defense, but luckily we don't want to play against half-court defense ever anyway. You know, we're just going to try to run. It's going to be the league's #1 offense against the league's #1 defense. And I just don't think the Knicks have enough quality ball handlers to deal with that Thunder defense. And so, to me, I thought you were going to say it is definitely Indiana. I'll tell you this much. Even if the Thunder think, man, we'd rather play the Pacers, the Thunder are rooting for the Knicks tomorrow. The Thunder want this series to go 7 games. You know what I mean? The Thunder want...
I bet you the Thunder don't even care.
That's probably...
And I don't think they're being over-cocky or, overconfident and cocky. I just think they're like, whatever. Minnesota was rested, right? 2 5-game series.
I don't like those odds at all.
What do you mean?
So you think an upset?
Kind of. Whenever my radar goes off when everyone's like, oh, obviously the Thunder. Maybe.
Well, I said it's been a while, but, you know, that Lakers-Detroit in 04. You know, there have been a few times. The Heatles the first year. They were rolling at that point.
Feels.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.